I'm a bit nervous today, so I apologize. But thank you, everybody, for coming. This really means a lot to all of us here, all the workers who are standing up for the children in the community in Butler County. Being prepared, I guess. I wrote a letter earlier this year in January to the newspaper. Once the agency started with going to the commissioners' meeting and doing an overhaul. And at that time, they didn't announce it to us workers. We heard about it in the news that there was going to be this big overhaul. And there were comments made in the media as well about us being poor social workers. And I'm really, really upset all of us out here. It was very harmful to the agency. So I took it upon myself to write a letter to the Journal, and I want to share that letter with you to start. It says, after reading the article in the paper, I felt like the community needed to hear from the union who represents the workers at Children's Services. We have been here many years through all the overhauls and need for change. Change is always at the demand of the politicians, but great work is done here every day. The great work is often not acknowledged, and we are used to this. We understand that if tragedy doesn't happen to get the community's attention, then all is assumed well. I want you to know that every day, something really awful happens to these children in our community. For us, it never stops. Only some days are less sad than others. Sometimes children are able to return home as their parents have worked through some very difficult issues and broken the cycle of abuse and neglect. Those are great days. We acknowledge that although we have tried, the quality of work has decreased in some circumstances in order to meet the state mandates and agency politicians with the increase of our caseload sizes. The workers keep leaving because they fear that their high caseloads and no true time to work with the families, they will be the ones who miss something, and tragedy might occur on their watch. When Mr. Morrison stated that the casework is poor, I know that he doesn't mean that for all the individual workers. The quality may be seen as poor because the direction of this agency is poor. The workers want to make a difference. Their choices are limited in time, services, resources, and support. I know the workers do their best to support one another, but they need the support of the leadership of this agency, of the commissioners, and of the community. We know that the change needs to happen, but that change needs to be driven by the staff that do the work and know the needs of the community. Workers need to be valued in their opinions as to what that change is, and a decision needs to be made to invest in the initiative with the levy the community provides us to protect children and preserve them. Without recognizing that we are all a part of the solution and support from top down, change will just be change. The caseworkers have many concerns of hope and hope to be truly a part of the solution. Throughout 2013, the subject was brought up over and over with the director from the union, and he finally agreed to meet with the workers and supervisors in September. There were 4 meetings held with great attendance in each from the workers, and this was important to them. Their ideas and information were collected, but nothing was moved on since that time, and still hasn't been. The question from the director was how to reduce the number of children in care. The collected responses were 30 pages in length. Some of the ideas included lower the caseloads as staff are consistently over the appropriate limit and unable to provide quality casework. We need to fill all the vacant positions timely and support the staff so they stay here in Butler County. We have lost over 60 staff in the last 24 months, and that was more than social workers. Our turnover rates have not been this high in over 15 years. Family preservation program reinstated. It was an in-house intensive program that kept children in their homes or helped them to reunify. This program was eliminated in 2011, and the workers were reassigned to other social work jobs throughout the agency. The caseworkers who utilize this program have repeatedly asked for its return. They were able to tailor the program to the family's needs versus a standard in-home program that is contracted and that does not have the flexibility of the in-house program. Both are needed. Daycare for kinship relatives, because they are not eligible to receive it, and they are taking on a huge financial burden they often cannot afford. When relatives say no as a result, the children are placed in foster care, costing the agency much more than child care costs. The caseworkers have also advocated repeatedly for Job and Family Services support staff to help the relatives obtain benefits. We did finally get that. I'll give them that. Increase in substance abuse treatment services. Heroin is an epidemic and has resulted in 2/3 of the removals of children from their parents. Our agency has cut costs in half for services last year for 2014 and for 2014, making it very difficult for families to move forward and get the help they need. The agency will only pay for 45 days in inpatient versus the actual time that is needed. The family needs to have resources available to them, and we have to invest in those resources. It is our job to provide them with the opportunity to make the changes. Children should not be placed permanently outside of their home until we have made every effort to work with the families within the timelines provided by the state. Policies need to be put in place that support the workers, not hinder their ability to do their job. They are expected to do an incredible amount of paperwork that is mandated by the state, while new agency policies have been put in place that do not support their ability to work with families, but keeps them at their desks even longer. Visitations between parents and children need to be moved more quickly into the homes, where families can feel they're more natural, and the workers can assess if the family is making the necessary changes. We used to do this as long as there were no safety hazards. The facility we have is great for some of the families, but they seem to end up stuck there with no ability to move forward. There were many more ideas that were brought up during the meeting and have been discussed by the staff for the last 2 years. We were overhauled in 2007 through 2008 after reaching out to the community providers and staff to find out what needed to change. There were reviews and assessments that were done as well, and they were all say the same thing. We made great strides, and we followed those recommendations. And we invested in hiring more workers, invested in services, invested in the home support for the families, support for the foster families, and shifted more financial support for relatives and families. The director kept in regular contact with the staff and the community about the issues we were dealing with and expected everyone to be a part of the solution. He came in with a political agenda, and then he learned that he actually had some great staff that simply needed the approval and support to do their job. The caseworkers and all staff believed they were making a difference because they truly were, and were commended for their hard work. All the great things that were built during that time have been slowly torn down with policies, tightening of the belts, and politics. What we, the union, hope is that we can get back to being social workers and make a difference for the families in this community. We don't need to be a stepping stone on someone's resume that gets credit for another overhaul, and want them to be a part of this team and invest in their potential of the great work that is being done and can be done. I read that in January, and that hasn't changed. Nothing has changed at our agency, and I find that to be very sad. We need leadership, and we need people to invest in our workers. Again, now, since Friday, we've had 54 social workers resign. 70 to 80 employees resign. Not because this is an important job. It's really important because they don't have the support they need to do their job. And the community, I'm really glad you guys are here. I think there hasn't been an education. There hasn't been enough support. We are told to be quiet at all times. In fact, the Journal, we had asked them we interviewed a couple workers. They were not permitted to go and shadow workers. They didn't want workers to talk. They didn't want workers to say we're overloaded. And that's the truth. We are. Today they had a press conference. I don't have all the specifics of what happened, but Charlie Young had a press conference at 1 o'clock. And he made mention that we were being inappropriate because in one of the interviews there was discussion regarding Marcus Faisal. I want to share that with you. That discussion was regarding the policies that were put in place after what happened with Marcus were to protect these families and protect these children, whether they're in foster care, with a relative, or in their own home. And what's happened, since we're not there, they're not following these policies. So, such as a foster home where there's a network, they have a caseworker that goes out. That's what happened in Marcus Feisel's situation as well. We would only go out every 3 months. And we didn't say that that's what their new policy is. But what we have is their contingency plan that talked about those will be the last on the list to be seen because they have the network going to see them. We're not using Marcus Bible. It is important that we say that. How could that not be a part of the conversation here? It should. Some of the other things that they had discussed previously in the journal news that I was able to respond to was as of Thursday, there were 80 visits that children are in their home or with relatives that we had knowledge of. Some of our coworkers are inside. We're not all, I mean, it's not like we don't talk. We know everything that's going on inside. And that was the truth. As of Friday, there were 60 visits that needed to be done. Families that hadn't been seen. We've had calls from foster parents to the workers, relatives calling our workers that have their cell phone numbers because they hand them out because they want to make sure they're taken care of. And although we tell them we cannot discuss anything, they're like, we had some lady out here, she didn't know us since she got here 5 minutes. 4 different kids, 2 different families, sibling groups. That's not the kind of service we want to do. We want to do our best. We want to get back to work. I want you to understand that. We're not here to make up stories or bash the agency. We want to go back to the agency. And we want to make it a better place and provide you a better service. Please understand that. This is not a game to us. This is real life. We've just gone a whole week so far without pay. That's pretty serious because there hasn't been raises either. So we're talking, it's difficult. It's difficult. Everybody up here has a family. So please understand that. The other thing that they mentioned, I guess, and what I understand that they mentioned, they talked about setting up a meeting with us and that they sent us a cease and desist letter. They accused us of threatening each other, of threatening clients, of threatening threatening members that weren't striking. We haven't done any of that. In fact, we can't even be mean to each other. We have no idea how. We're too busy trying to take care of each other. We're social workers. Please don't think that. We are, I mean, if anything, we've had clients come up to us and say, we support you. In fact, we're doing a video thing over there, just taking a picture, because I stand up for social workers. I had a family member come in the other day, or I mean, a dad that I worked with 10 years ago. He never had his children back. And it was a very tough case. I was probably open with him for 3 or 4 years. He comes up and he wants to do a sign and he said, Becky Palmer, you helped me. I just want you to know that. And that's what he put on his little sign and wanted to take a picture of it. He never had his kids back. But he said, everything you said made a difference and I was able to get better, little bit by little bit by little bit. So you have to understand that. So I will tell Mr. Young we will cease and desist all threatening that we're not doing. And he also mentioned that there's been no other conversation regarding setting up a meeting. I want to be very clear. We had a meeting set up for Tuesday at 1. We received a letter of cease and desist, all these behaviors, and then we received an email canceling. It appeared to be that's what they were doing, was canceling the meeting. And they said they would not be available until the following 3rd week. And I believe they're just doing that to see how many people will last, because that's the week our insurance is completely shut off. So it's very scary for us, and I'm sure that shook everybody up behind us, but we're standing strong, and we're going to support each other and get through this. If they cancel the meeting, they're not negotiating in good faith. They're just trying to push us down, and I'm just shocked by that. I don't understand why they don't want us doing the work. They can contract out the service providers. They're still strangers. They still don't know our job. They can't do what we can do. They can't make the difference that we can. So we want to get back to work. So thank you. I'm going to let other people talk because I went way over my limit.
I was a caseworker at Children's Services. I left back in the middle of June after spending 8.5 years with all of these fine people. I spent 5 years working specifically in the Family Drug Court program. I'm sure that every single person in this room knows how heroin has affected this community. You either know from seeing it in the news, you know because of your neighbors, you know because of people in your own family. The amount of heroin abuse and the addiction is tearing this community and families apart. And a lot of these people here are trying to help fix that. And they're trying to help fix that with less services, with less support, with less respect than they absolutely deserve from the community, from our own administrators, from the commissioners, as well as from other entities, such as the legal aid societies, such as the prosecutor's office, such as the GALs and the treatment providers. We're all in this together. We need to be all in this together. It was very, very hard for me to leave Children's Services. Several people up here can testify to the number of tears that I cried on my last day. Princesses don't cry. It was a very tough decision, but it was a decision that I had to make for myself, for my own personal well-being. Part of me feels very guilty for leaving because I love all these people and I know what a good job they do, what a hard job they do. I know that they give their all to these families. I don't know the numbers as far as visits that are being done, visits that aren't being done, but the visits that are being done to fulfill a mandate. Casework is not being done right now. Quality casework is not being done right now. Please help them.
Well, should definitely not have gone after Josie because her leaving was very emotional, and this agency is not able without her being here. So, anyway, I'll try to pull myself together. My name is Jennifer Crail. I'm an onboard caseworker at Children's Services. That's not my own strength. I thought the best place to start is in the beginning. I came to Butler County in the fall of 2007 and came from essentially the same job in Hamilton County. And I lost what I felt like at the time there was a toxic environment, unsupported. And walking into Butler County in 2007 was refreshing. There were experienced workers. People loved their jobs. Workers were supported. Their ideas were appreciated. People were happy and passionate about helping children and families. I fell in love with child welfare again. And the passion there was contagious, honestly. So much so that I was inspired to return to school and get my master's degree. Not to look for outside work or use it as Children's Services as a stepping ground, but to enrich the work that I was doing in Butler County. I graduated passionate about putting to use my new knowledge. Now let's fast forward to what the agency has become. I have watched policy after policy enacted by people who don't understand the work done, and I've watched the activities designed to share knowledge and ideas shut down. And I've watched as upper-level management has become people completely detached from what goes on the front lines. Let's face it, me, or any of the people up here, decided to choose social work to get rich. There are plenty of other career paths we could have taken. That's why I feel it's important to say that this strike is not about money. I work with some of the most selfless people that you will ever meet. I can't express enough that none of us would have walked out the doors if it was just about us. It's about less respect. This is about the families that we serve and having the resources to provide the support that they deserve. This is about management not respecting the frontline workers who risk their lives, make difficult emotional decisions every day, and sacrifice time with our own families to serve the county every day. Management's unwillingness to truly negotiate fair wages is just one example of how they've essentially said to us a phrase that my daughter taught me when she was in preschool: get what you get, you don't throw a fit. That's essentially what I hear. That's what happens. That's what they're saying by offering the same thing to everyone, regardless of any consideration of the type of work done, education required, and the risks that we take every day. I have watched as experienced, passionate, loyal employees have resigned. I have watched as people once considered lifers walk away from a job that they once loved. Losing more than half the employees since 2011 is clearly an issue in management. Even normal social worker burnout doesn't account for the turnover that we are seeing right now. They are leaving because of stagnant salaries, but more importantly, a lack of respect and a lack of support doing an extremely difficult job. They are leaving because they don't have the tools and resources to do their jobs well, and they refuse to compromise their standards to fit into the box created by upper level management. This county is in crisis and needs experienced, educated employees. If Butler County wants to battle the heroin epidemic, it needs to band together and invest in the people who have the skills, experience, dedication, and heart to make a difference. I have worked with many families over the last 7 years, and there are many success stories. Those success stories come from staying connected to the parent, supporting them, and pushing them further than they thought they could go. It's something that's become hard to do as caseloads have grown due to workers leaving. It's something hard to do when you look around and all of your caseworkers are brand new employees. And it's something that I guarantee you is not happening right now inside those doors, despite the lies that you've heard that it's business as usual. But let me tell you, Children's Services is not a business. It's an agency that is supposed to help and support families, and it cannot be successful without some investment. It cannot succeed on its current path. It is an insult to anyone to think or say that clients are receiving good or better casework right now, when a major factor in why I am on strike is because of the poor quality of casework clients were already receiving due to the worker turnover, lack of services, and caseload size. It's an insult to the county that anyone would say families are being served well in the absence of all these good people. My coworkers are some of the strongest, selfless, inspiring people I have ever had the privilege of knowing. The outpouring of support from citizens of Butler County gives me hope for our future. I took a stand for me, my family, my fellow union members, for the new hires on probation and Children's Services, for my coworkers' families, for my clients, for their families, and for the future of Butler County Children's Services. We deserve better, and I encourage all of you to fight for better.
So hard for her to do, and that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Matt is going to speak now.
Hi, my name is Matthew. I have nothing prepared. I'm just going to talk about how I feel. This has been really hard. We've gone through the first week, it was really hard. I think it got a lot scarier when we got notice about insurance. One thing that we always hear in training is you've got to learn to take care of yourself. We are learning how to do that now. And we have had amazing support from the community. I've been so thankful for people who have stopped by to give us food, to honk their horn, to show their support, and for people coming out here to show their support. It's obviously not about the money. We're not getting any money. We're not forgetting what it is about. It's about our kids. It's about keeping quality casework where it belongs. It's about keeping consistency for those kids. I've been in the agency for a little over 7 years. I've been shuffled around in different positions. I adjust to that because we're social workers and we find where there's need, we find a way to help. but I don't want my kids shuffled around. I'm a contact person for them. I'm a point person for them. I'm a constant for them. And I want to be doing that again. So as we keep doing this, I appreciate so much everyone's support. I think initially I had a little bit of drive to seek some respect from county administrator, the commissioners, but that has been immeasurably replaced by self-respect I'm gaining and the respect I have for the people up here with me. That is doing it for me now.
We had a few impromptu speeches. We had some people that didn't show up.
All right, so I apologize. I am so unprepared, but I've jotted down a couple things that I wanted to say. I am a new caseworker at the agency. I've been here for about a year now, and this has been both one of the best and one of the longest years of my life. I've had experiences that I never thought I would. I've walked into homes with drug paraphernalia and guns on the table. I have walked into situations where kids simply weren't safe and needed to leave immediately. And it takes a great deal of strength and heart to do this work, and I am every day in awe of the people that stand up here with me and who have done this work for years. So I am new to Butler County, but in my time here, I have noticed three things that stand out so prominently. We have an incredibly dedicated, passionate, and hardworking staff of caseworkers. We have a community with significant needs. The heroin epidemic is ravaging our community. With that comes untreated mental health, and we have children who are bearing the brunt of this. This isn't all about the adults. This is really about the children who are growing up. And then the third thing is that we simply don't have enough resources, services, or time for us, the workers who are dedicated and who care, to help these families recover from these ravages. Children's Services, it's not a place to cut corners. These children that we work with every single day are the future of our county, and without the help of this agency and empowered workers, our community won't recover from the effects of the heroin epidemic and the resulting child abuse and neglect that we see every day. So I call on this community, people sitting here, people not here today, in the county that I've grown to know and care so deeply about in my time here, to play to and build on the strengths of this county. We have resilience, we have strength, we have a sense of community, and more than anything, we have hope and the possibility posed by the children that we see and work with every single day.
Thank you, Marlena. Foster parents that would like to come up.
And I am a foster parent here in Butler County. 4 years ago, I was on staff at a church. I became involved in the foster adoption ministry there. And through that, I got to meet some really cool people through the We Adoption event. Our church hosted foster parent night out events, those sort of things. But I got to know the people behind me. I got to see how they interacted with kids. I got to see the caseworker, Kelly wanted to leave it. She knows her child and knew what she would like to do during this WE event because, come on, WE is for boys. But she knew that if I bring a dance game, she'll do it, she'll be engaged. And Kelly danced for like 3 hours with this girl because she cares, she knows this child. I got the chance to meet Carrie Jones, who coordinates volunteer activities and takes care of child care and coordinates masses of things that you don't even know. But she knows these kids. She knows what Johnny likes or who can be together, who can sit next to each other, who can't, and they respect her. I was privileged 2 years ago to become a licensed foster parent for Butler County. Now, that would be fine if I lived in Butler County, because that would be kind of expected. But I live in Warren County, and through the people that I saw, through the relationships that were formed, I chose to come to Butler County to be a foster parent, to help these people that are doing hard work.
We also chose to foster in Butler County, although we live in Hamilton County. And through our time there, I have seen how hard these social workers and caseworkers work for the children, for the birth families, for the foster families. They work so hard, and I think it is very unfair that they now have to fight for themselves. It seems like all they do is try to stand up for someone else, and now they have to stand up for themselves. They need to be treated fairly, equally, and get the resources that they need to do their jobs better.
Okay, all of you guys up there, I just have one simple thing, okay? I'm sorry the commissioners don't value you. We do. These foster moms do. Anyone else out here that's foster? We will stand by you. We know how much you work for us. We love you. You're the best caseworker we could have ever had. You're second. I'm kidding. We love you. But in all seriousness, I'm sticking that they won't give you what you deserve. You're valued higher than any amount of money could ever pay you, period. To get under what you deserve is sick. I'm sorry, there's no other word for it. But just please understand what you're doing. We support you. We're not the only 3 foster parents that do that. I think we can speak on behalf of a lot of them. But we support you. We admire you. Keep it up. Stand strong. Strength in numbers. And God bless you for everything.
Now I want to ask Debbie to come up and bring her in. And have any other grandchildren.
Hello, I'm a grandparent who's benefited from the services of this agency. Over a year and a half ago, we came to Butler County Children's Services. Our personal family crisis put us in a very difficult situation. We were desperate for help, guidance, support, and answers. We were placed with professionals who were kind, caring, and compassionate. These caseworkers helped us every step of the way and made the office available to us for anything we needed. This is what they do. They step into situations, sometimes very risky situations, and must assess and decide the appropriate action. Their caseload is tremendous, yet they spread themselves among all the cases to the best of their ability. There is no doubt there are many dedicated individuals working long hours to keep our children safe in a healthy environment. While we found our caseworkers to be very dedicated and supported, we did face some hurdles along the way. One area we found troubling was the turnover rate. We went through 4 caseworkers during this period. At a time when continuity was vital, we found this program struggling in this area. When children are facing their lives separated, it's critical that these visits are positive experiences. And children are being asked questions by strangers, and just as their comfort will start to set in, meeting with strangers in their own home each month, we'd be assigned a new caseworker. We begin that process again, building the comfort for the necessary communication. Drug addiction has escalated and heroin addiction is an epidemic. The statistics are staggering. This comes at a time when our Children's Service Agency is needed more than ever. This very issue has very many children placed in situations of neglect and danger. We cannot go back on the diligence required by this agency. This is the time to move forward at lightning speed and catch these children before they fall. Find the children who are most at risk. We have children who are being traumatized, uprooted from their homes, and facing many challenges. Statistics show the problem is growing and no signs of letting up. The fact is our social workers have families to support, mortgages, groceries to buy, bills, just like all of us. How can we expect them to continue on at the risk of their own livelihood, doing the jobs they're trained to do, carrying the weight of so many families who depend on them, when we would not face these enormous difficulties ourselves? At a time when we are facing one of the biggest community crises that is mounting each day, how can we afford to lose even one of these employees? The health of our community is based upon agencies such as our Children's Services. And if we cannot offer hope and solutions, how can we possibly meet the growing demand to save our children? A network that has pushed for such excellence for so many years is suddenly falling short, and there can be no greater value placed than the one that is in place, full functioning with workers who are dedicated to their jobs. The reality is that they are not fully being heard. They cannot maintain a sustainable way of living under current salary conditions. As a member of this community, and one who has had personal experience with this agency, I ask that we work with these employees and find solutions that are acceptable. We must be a dynamic community that can change as demands for the services warrant. We must place a high value on these employees that they deserve. We need their services, we need their guidance, we need to be a community who supports our vital employees from the agency at its very core. We need them. Look around our community. It's happening everywhere. Families are falling apart around us. Who is picking up the pieces for these children? Who's working to hold these families together? I don't know where this is going to end, but I know it needs to start with keeping the very people who are in a position to try to save these lost families.
Debbie contacted me yesterday to ask if she could come speak. There's no longer a case open, but she had heard about everything on the news and felt like she needed to have some fun with it. I would like for Terry to come up and explain.
Hi, I'm Terry Spar-Nelson, and I've been a clinical social worker for over 30 years. Long time, but I can tell you this. I'm here to speak about community support, but it was something that Becky said earlier that I have to touch on, and that is being in Children's Protective Services is absolutely, positively one of the most difficult jobs that a social worker or caseworker can have. I can tell you that from the experiences that I know working with caseworkers and social workers, and also from teaching social workers. Actually, I teach at Miami University, I teach social work, and I think there are some of our alumni here. Thank you. But more than that, I want to talk about something that Becky said earlier about someone that we all can picture his face, and that is Marcus Feisel. I'm appalled that someone said that that should not be, his name should not be brought up or be an issue. In fact, that's exactly why we're here. That's exactly what these social workers are doing to prevent another child from being harmed or killed. We read about it in the newspaper. We read stories about a 6-month-old who's been shaken to the point of having brain damage. They work that. They work with those families and those children. We read about that and our stomach turns. We get knots in our stomach. We say, oh my gosh, how could that happen? We read about a 2-year-old who's been sexually abused and we go, oh my gosh, how could that happen? They deal with that every single day on the job. We need to remember that this is about the children, their well-being, their lives, and the families. And that's what these workers are here for. They're here to stand up for the children that they work for. So anyone who says that Marcus Faisal or any of those other children who have been harmed along the way should not be discussed, I would say shame on you. Shame on you. Now, the reason I was asked to speak, community support. Do you know how many people are behind you? I just want you to know that in about 10 days, we have an online petition that the community started. We have over 1,400 names on that petition in just 10 days. And that's growing. I also want you to know that our community has been reaching out to other groups nationally, social workers, as well as schools of social work, and other community members. So I'm hoping that we're going to be hearing from some people who are in the national front on this issue, people who are pro-social work and pro-union. I also want to say in terms of community support, we're here and we're going to be with you in whatever way you need us. And I truly mean that. If you need a phone call, if you need a hug, we've got a fund, there's a fund that's set up. Please do consider donating to the fund. There's a box in the back with donations. There's an online fund, there's a fund at Fifth Third Bank. Please help these social workers out while they're going through a very trying time. So however you need us, call on us. That's what we're here for. Whatever we could do. And we want the county commissioners to know, and our county to know, that we will not stand for this. This is appalling. We're going to stand with these workers until this is over. And we're calling on you to meet with them every week until this is settled. And hopefully it'll be settled next week. The fact that you rescheduled the meeting until September 2nd is appalling. We're calling on a meeting for this week with these workers. Okay. Thank you so much. That's all I've got to say. So let's please stand up and show our support and respect for all these workers.
We have one more speaker. She got here a little bit late, Tammy. If you can come up, she works with people with addiction issues, problems, and she would like to speak about that too. And then I will come up and give some final statements and ask, and you guys, it'll be open for questions.
I just want to say that I've always ladies. I've actually been on the other side against because my daughter's an addict, and she has been for 6 years. And Children's Services was involved, and I actually, in the community right now, we're in a kind of crisis. And it took me 2 years to realize that my daughter was an addict. It took me 3 years to publicly, or even to a friend, say they're an addict. Children's Services knew the day that my granddaughter passed away, that my daughter was an addict. But it took me 2 years. So I was enabling, and that's what a lot of us do. We enable our children. And we need someone who can step back and look at what the children need, as opposed to being a mother and a grandmother. So we need these people. And the caseload is twice what it was last year, and 3 times what it was the year before, because we have such an epidemic. So how can we ask these people to take on all these caseloads, which they do, and not pay them what they need to pay? So that's all I got to say. I support you guys, and I got everyone
Thank everybody for coming. At the back table, there are shirts. If you would like one or care to make a donation towards one, that would be greatly appreciated. The table over there, in that corner, we are doing a video of our support. And we went to a sign that says, I stand up for social workers. And then on the next sign would say, I am whatever you are. If you are a pastor, if you are a taxpayer, if you are a mother, if you are a social worker. You can say whatever it is that how you want to identify yourself. But we would appreciate it if you don't mind doing that. That would be wonderful. And again, there's cookies back there, there's water and coffee over here. But I guess if you're ready, we can open it up for questions for anybody who has them. And we're going to let all the members speak to it. Not just me, about it. Hi.
I'm Dottie Marshall.
You can bring that down. I'm short like that. There you go.
I'm Dottie Marshall. I'm a pediatric nurse, psychiatric nurse, and I was on strike 3 years ago as a teacher. And I want to commend you on what you're doing in standing up for the children. But most of all, I do want to commend you for standing up for yourselves as professionals. I think that we're underestimating the importance of your role in society, and I urge you not to ever be ashamed of going for money, because if your t-shirts say on the front, that's very profound, and I intend to buy one. You have to make a living, and you have to get what you deserve, because that elevates the whole community.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi. I'm Vicki. I'm a mother. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a mother of a previous social worker. And I'm very concerned about what's going on. I'm wondering if there are any representatives of management here. None? So it's a town hall meeting, but there's no representatives of the town.
I don't know.
But the ones who make the legal decisions.
People were invited.
Of course. So I just want to say that I'm proud of all of you, because I don't know if I would have the guts to do it. We're going to stand behind you. We're going to do all we can to support you and just keep fighting, because they're making what they make their decisions. They don't value what you're doing, and they don't value the fact that you make the future of this community by what you're doing. And if they don't allow you to take care of the children are going to grow up, and they're going to be a problem. And those problems create problems in the whole community. And you can put a stop to that now. You can make a better future, but they don't value that. And it just really upsets me. So happy that everybody's here and supporting you, and we're all going to keep supporting you.
Hi there, I'm Nancy Powell. I'm retired from the Butler County Auditor's Office after 29 years of public service, and I would like to talk a little bit about I was the budget director, the finance director, and the real estate director at the time. So I know my way around the budget, and I want to talk a little bit about how the Children's Services Fund is funded. It's from taxpayer money. There was a levy that was passed specifically to create a safety net for these children. And that's the only thing this money is supposed to be used for. It's not to be a savings account or to cover cash flow issues with other funds. It's just for this fund. And the people in this county pay for this safety net for these kids. And I think they should all stand up right now and recognize the fact that this work stoppage is not in defiance of the county. It's a plea for help to make the administrators do the right thing, as Mike Fox did when he was there. Now he's in prison now, but he had passion for the children and did some great things for it, and there's a reason for that, because it needs to happen. And I don't know how the commissioners, or whoever's making this decision, as the director, can consciously do this, knowing the heroin epidemic that we're faced with. And I think the taxpayers need to raise up and make them aware of this situation. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Claudia, and I'm a foster parent for the last 2 years and an adoptive parent. I just want to let you guys know some of the things that I'm hearing that make me furious. These people deal with the most depressing job on the planet. Abused and neglected children, are you kidding? First order of business. We don't want our caseworker ladies to wear open-toed shoes. Do you think that we give a rat's behind about that? Second of all, I'm told that there would be a grant to cover something really imperative that these workers need to bring us into the 21st century. Just so you know, the caseworkers come to our house with a pad and pen, and they record everything they need to record, and they spend a full hour there doing it. They go back to their office and enter it into the computer, because even though that they were told that there was a grant that would cover each of them to carry iPads and operate in this century like any other normal functioning business, that grant was turned down for fear of what it would look like. What it would look like you're making them more efficient to be able to do their job, operate like any other business from a business perspective. You're dealing with the lives of abused and neglected children. Let's focus on the right priority here, instead of just beating down the morale of the people who are willing to make a living doing this. Bless you all.
Hello, my name is Paula Cuff-Romer, and I am a community member. I am a taxpayer. I am also very fortunate to have two very best friends of 27 years be on two opposite sides of this. I have one that is our caseworker, our leader, that's our union leader here, Miss Becky. I can't imagine my life without her. I have seen her for the last 20-some years work with these children, and the heart that she has with that. I've got to know some of the other situations that have happened, and I cannot even imagine what it takes to go to work every day and still put a smile on everybody's face when it's over. I also have another friend of 27 years, my best friend Abby, that just was placed as a foster mother 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, she got delivered in 4 hours 2 children that had been hurt severely. Her and her husband have taken them over, and guess what? They've had no support. Not one thing has been to help them or to reach out to them because of this. Because our community is too worried about not helping these children, helping the people that help them. It's ridiculous. I voted yes on the tax levy, and by goodness, it should be represented here. So I say everybody take a focus. Let's look and see what everybody does. They're amazing. They have the hearts of gold. They take care of our children. They take care of the parents that are supposed to take care of these children are hurt. They're not there right now. So can you imagine all these foster parents out there that are left, and especially somebody that is 3 weeks into it? Shameful on these commissioners for not meeting with these people. Shameful.
great-great-grandmother had a son and a daughter-in-law who worked for Children's Services. I have sons who worked for the county for years and retired. I worked for the city for years, and I'm retired. And I have, several years ago, I was on the other side. I was a family foster parent for my grandson. And I know they worked with me to get him back to his mother, who went through all the training and everything she needed so she could get back. At that time, 7 years ago, she went through all this and they had the works to help her get back and get her, my grandson back. I think if the commissioners would walk one day with any of the service workers and go through a whole day working with them, they would
of our county, because they are our future. So I have to hold the commissioners accountable. I want you to know that you're supported by many, many people in the community, even folks, of course, who can't be here now physically, but know you're supported. But we need to also start to focus on the commissioners and hold their feet to the fire and be accountable. Another month of health insurance, for example, that apparently their time is more important than the children of our community, that they can hold off and cancel appointments that have to do with the well-being and safety of our children. I think we have to ask some challenging questions. For example, what % raise did the commissioners and their administrative staff get in the last 2 years? If they're in charge, make decisions about our budgets in this county and how taxpayer money is used, then they may need to cut budgets, let's say, in their administrative staff before they cut you and your budgets. If they really, in fact, care about children in the future of this county. And I think we have to ask them those kinds of questions over and over and over again, and ask them publicly until they come up with some answers and the public knows what decisions the commissioners are making on behalf of the community. And if they're not the decisions that we as taxpayers think are priorities as they should be, we need to do something about that.
And I want to respond to that just a little bit. What I can tell you over the last 3 years, there was a salary increase, there was a pay raise increase for the management of all Butler County, but my focus was on our agency. That's who I can talk about because that's who we deal with. There were pay ranges increased around, well, in 10 years for supervisors, a 50% increase in their pay range. In the last, we'll just say from January 1st of 2014 to February 8th, when they received their increases, their pay range increase, it was a 25% increase in that pay range. So to give it in one day, that was a huge change. And we applaud that. A pay range, that doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. That's what you have the potential of receiving. We haven't had that since 2005. And in those 10 years, it was 12%. Our management then ended up receiving a 2.5% this year, all the way up to a 16%, depending on their position. We're asking for pennies, I feel like, at this point. And that's really sad. That's kind of pitiful for all of us, because we know that we're worth more than that, but that's where they pushed us down to. So when we asked for 3.5% in the beginning, as you've read in the paper, as they've reported, we've come 98% over. We had a fact finder in our favor and said they deserve at least modest pay raises, or pay increases, wage increases. We've gone under that. I feel like we're begging for pennies just to get back to work. And I think it's sad. But we're here, and we're going to continue to stand up for ourselves, and we hope that you'll stand up with us.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Williams. I'm a resident of Butler County taxpayer. I work with agencies and different groups within Butler County for children with special needs. And that's the thing that I'm most passionate about. I just want you to know that I'm standing with you and behind you and willing to do anything that I can. Currently a candidate for Butler County Commissioner. Having a lot of prior experience in big budget management, but only as a taxpayer and a person who can speak on the level of the people. I was a union worker for 14 and a half years. I know what you're going through. Not having had to strike, but it came close many times. But just passionate about what you're doing and for the work that you're doing for the kids. If I were in a position like that, I'd give you whatever it was you were asking, even if it came out of my pocket. So keep up the good work, and I applaud you all. Thank you.
Hello, seen you guys a few times. My name is Troy Reese. I am a community member, a taxpayer. I am also a local teacher, and I've worked with many social workers with my profession. And I just want to first say thank you for all you do. It's kind of almost a similar type situation being a teacher, social worker. I kind of think this reminds me of what my colleagues and I just went through, and also the firefighters and the police force with Senate Bill 5 and the attacks from all the politicians there, and we are still going through. From my experience as a teacher working with children that are often in very similar situations that you guys deal with, my experience has shown me that the money that we invest now is much more cost efficient, as they would say, than what would it cost us in the future with all the problems that you guys handle and that we deal with. I would like to ask you a question. How are the county commissioners and directors of JFS ensuring that families and children are not at risk when the reduced number of caseworkers, or with the reduced number of caseworkers that are available to respond? So how are they dealing with that and the possible situations that we brought up and things that have happened in the past? How are they going to be able to ensure that none of this happens?
Apparently they're dealing with it very fine. Business as usual. What we did receive was a copy of their contingency plan, and it was on their when people call, they're initially screened in as a 1, 2, or 3, a 1 being an emergency. 2s are the majority of our calls. Of the ones that we investigate, there are a lot of calls that are also screened out. Well, there's no more 2s. There are just 3s, which are, we'll get to it when we can. And so it's a 1 and a 3. So, and I think any of you guys can speak. In fact, I would love for somebody to speak about that who's in intake. Who's in intake? That can talk about that.
Priority 1, typically your police removals, things of that nature. When a police officer, someone calls us that there's an immediate need, we have to respond within an hour. Priority 2 is a 24-hour response time. However, agency policy is that we respond that business day. Those are a lot of our drug-positive babies. Depending on where the child is, children with marks, that type of situation, that's according to the contingency plan, they've eliminated. Priority 3s are actually the most common ones, which those are the typical investigations where we have to make contact, witness contact within 24 hours. Not necessarily the same.
goods are held, they're coming in. And then they're not following the mandates. What they're doing is going to see all the kids that are in their homes and then prioritizing kids that are with relatives. And then the kids that are in the network homes, as I spoke of earlier, are being seen by those networks without a worker being in the home. Or if they could, I'm sure that's at the bottom of their list, children in Butler County foster homes. And then they'll just cover out with contract agency staff to provide the service. But we're not there. So I don't know how they're feeling, whether it's 90 people, 90 workers out here, whether it's 70, 65, 55, they're saying 55. I know we have more than 55. That's a lot of workers to be gone. You need to understand, 10 people gone.
Like one person leaves, it's a Christmas. We showed you up, it was a Christmas. They can't do it. It's like our staff.
If I could just remind everyone what Josie said, what's going on now, the visits that are happening now, they're mandate driven, and it's not driven by casework. There's not consistency, there's not continuity, and that's what we learned. That's why we went back.
Right. The quality is not there, and it's not going to be there until we get back. And we're coming back. I mean, that's what they need to understand. We're coming back. So tearing us down publicly is not the way to do it. And that's not what we're trying to do to them. And we're not trying to speak poorly about anybody in that agency. But we want to come back and do our job. We want it to be treated with respect, be valued, and keep our workers. And that's the problem. We're going to lose more workers if we don't come up with a better plan.
I just fell asleep. I debated on whether or not I wanted to come up here to the mic. I've been a social worker for 22 years. 20 of those 22 years has been as a line worker. I'm appalled at the commissioners. There's no other word that can be looked at and considered. It's absolutely ridiculous, the degree to which they devalue child welfare in our community. I haven't seen anything like this in the 22 years since I've done the work. I don't know for a fact, but I'm assuming the county commissioners have never gotten a phone call to have to go out to a house to investigate abuse or neglect. I'm guessing that they've never had to try to fall asleep at night, second guessing themselves for having made the right choice on a case. I'm guessing they've never interviewed a child who's been sexually abused by a parent. I'm guessing that they've never, on any level, done any of this work. So they're sitting basically in ivory towers, clueless, as to the value of child welfare in our community. So apparently we live in a county in which overall means gutting an agency. It's a bit ironic. I, not too long ago, helped train someone and then recommended to her that she come to this agency to be employed. And now she's on strike. It's amazing to me that this is going on in the 21st century. The amount of interdependency and interconnectedness between our social problems in this community is vast. The connection between child welfare, juvenile justice, between juvenile justice and adult crime, between adult crime and homelessness. Take any one of our social problems. They're all interconnected and interwoven, as all of us are. What affects one affects everybody. Apparently it doesn't affect the county commissioners. It has no effect on them whatsoever. This community needs to rise up and support these workers that have supported this community. And they've done it not because of pay. You can't compensate somebody for having to help remove a child from an environment that's toxic. You can't possibly compensate them. Their compensation comes because they knew that they're doing the right thing. This work's invaluable in our community. It's up there with firefighters and police officers and teachers and all the other paid public servants to give of themselves so selflessly because they believe in what they do. Now, the issue here for us is, do we believe in what they do? All right? We're not going without pay in this community. How many of these people here had children? We're not facing having to lose our benefits. They are. They took a courageous and bold stand. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, that's never been done in the history of this union. Have you guys ever striked before? Right. So they're striking in 2014 because what is going on is atrocious. Now, I think we need to support them. We need to come together. I don't care what your political orientation is. This isn't about liberal versus conservative. This is about children and families in our community, and we need to stand now. Thank you very much.
Several years ago, I have taught parenting classes in this community for 13 years with parents that are required to go to classes. The families I work with need these social workers that stand before us. This is where we're only doing sometimes the sanity and to helping their children and getting their children back. I waited, and I'm saying it out all that those of you that know me, and I know many of you up there, and I'm glad to consider all of you my friends. There's not enough money in this world to pay you what you're worth. When I had the opportunity and the blessing to be in the Children's Services building and work with them, some days it was more than traumatic for me just to hear their conversations on the phone with people that had severe issues. They needed help. They needed this. One day, I had heard about Suboxone, it was by 8:15. I had to take a break. You know, it was the top of the week, you know, and that was just the end of this heroin epidemic that all of us need to be aware of. It's every community, it's every neighborhood. I'm a mom of 2 adult children that right now are very fine in life. I'm a voter, and I will not vote for anyone on the Butler County Commission. You know what? We don't have to stand here and bad mouth anybody. We can look at people's actions. We can look at about people not being called into meetings. I was the supervisor of Child and Family Services for 15 years. I have no doubt in my mind that the workers that were told not to talk to the media, that were told not to talk to each other, not to come out and walk the picket line, that sure as the hell happened. These people are not liars. They are not liars. And I will continue to do so as I work every day for another county agency. I will be out here helping them any way I can. If there's a need for anything in this community, it's for community members, foster parents, all of us to say, we're not going to put up with this anymore. We're done with this. And I think that, you know, the county commissioners and Charlie Young have to know that for the fact that they can't meet with this group this next week. What are they doing? They're so busy that they're more important. I have called and left messages in the last week, maybe 5 times, saying, my name is Jane Hopping. Here's my concern. Here's what I feel as a taxpayer is a thought. You know, if you want to call me back. And you see, no one's here today, and no one has called me back. And I have left my full name and my phone number, and my phone is always with me. So I just encourage each one of you to stand strong. I encourage people in the community to support these workers, and that means talk. When you're in here, talk about what's going on with this organization. Share this with your neighbors. The information that comes out that's incorrect, share that. You know, the next meeting we have like this, bring 10 friends with you. I just feel like it's that important to these children. And these workers cannot protect every child in this county, but when they're on the job, it's a better watch in this county for our children that are unsafe. Thank you.
My name is Michelle DeCrest, and I used to be a guardian ad litem in the years 1997 to 2004. I know Holly Burns, Michelle Best, Amy Miller. I work with you people, and what people don't understand is these people are putting themselves at risk anytime they walk into an environment with people who either have mental illness or are on drugs. And I have also been on the front lines with these people. I have gone into dirty houses. You cannot imagine the filth that these children live in. I have had children on my cases that had broken bones. You can't pay these workers enough.
Right.
But what I want to talk about is what Randy talked about. He talked about the interconnectedness. He talked about connection. And the fact of the matter is there's not one commissioner here. And didn't Sheriff Jones say that we have an epidemic in this community? Didn't we just have a rally downtown at the Government Services Building? And so we have this rally, but people are not making the connection with the fact that this epidemic affects not just adults or homeless people or mentally ill people, it affects children. So there's a disconnect here. Not only that, where are our state representatives? I do not see one state representative here. So my question to you is, where are the community leaders? Where are they? Where are the church people? Where are the leaders? Are there any community leaders here? Anyone? Well, I think we have a serious problem with disconnect in Butler County. And I think that we really need to hold our leaders accountable. Now, let's ask the question, who are our leaders in Butler County? Because they aren't here. And I want you to think about that in November. And every November from now on, I want you to vote responsibly.
The unfortunate response that I got from people when we reached out, we have to stay neutral. And we're not politicians. We're not asking you to politically decide, whether you favor child welfare or abuse or neglect. We're just asking you to get us back to work, to recognize that we are an important part of this community. And even some of the churches, that you need to stay neutral. So they're not here, and that's what I find is very sad. Yes.
Aaron drove this.
I'll be on this side, I'll be on that side. Alright, my name is Natasha. Sorry, good. Foster mom. I had a conversation with Charlie and myself, actually, on Friday. I called him personally to discuss the situation, a problem that I was having. Why was I having a problem? Gee, my social workers are on strike because they were forced to be on strike. So I'll make sure I make that clear. I'm not going to go into the specific issue, as I'm a foster parent, and I don't need to tell you guys why I'm not going to go into the specific issue. But one of the things I told him that I can tell you is that I did call the office, the Fair Act office, and it took me 5 phone calls to get through to somebody. When I called, I told them I had a very, very important question that needed answered immediately. And the first call, they put me through to a voicemail. And then I called back and said, yeah, I just called a minute ago and I have something very important I need to know for my daughter. Hold on. I got put through another voicemail. This happened 2 more times after that. On the 5th time, I was given to a supervisor who had promised something to me that he then the next day did not follow through on. So when I spoke with Charles Young, I wanted to address this, and I did, amongst the other issues I was having. And he told me that I was the first person with an actual problem that had come to him. And I couldn't help but laugh, because I know other foster families, and I know that that's incorrect. How about the other 60 families that did not have kids? I did not want to, and I'm not standing here to bash anybody. In fact, Charles Young is a very nice man on the phone. I will say he's very good vocabulary. Nice guy. Whatever. But I did actually probe him for some questions about the strike, and he said he wasn't going to speak about it. I tried to be persistent, and then we talked about it a little bit. So I asked him a few questions. One thing he said to me that I wanted to make known, and I hope to God this goes on the news. He actually said to me, verbatim, and I quote you, Butler County social workers are the highest paid social workers. I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie. The Journal News knows this. I told them this. This is exactly what he said to me. This is the exact words. He didn't quote me on him quoting that. Of course, my response to that was, we know that's a freaking lie. And he then told me that I need to look at the correct facts and look and compare county to county. So with all due respect, sir, we've done that. Again, we're wrong. But we can agree to disagree. And I did ask him what his plans were, if he in fact was going to do anything to resolve this. Because I want my caseworkers back. I want Jennifer back. I want John back. I need them back. I don't just want them back, I need them back. And he said, I don't know. So, again, I just wanted to let you know that, and to tell you that I can be on what side you need me to be on, do whatever I can. And I want people to also make sure that they call if they are having problems. Because, even if you just talk to somebody, I think, as a replacement caseworker or whatnot, call Charles Young and complain. Because apparently there's been no other issues. So by all means, let him know what's happening. Let him hear it. So I just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
You probably can't tell youthful appearance, but I have been in the field of child welfare for nearly 30 years. Everybody knows that any successful organization is only as good as its people. And if you take care of your people will take care of you. Well, Butler County, your people are here. This is your cream of crop. And it is clear that our being here today is truly a matter of politics over children. And I can't begin to tell you how ridiculous that is. Our assistant director told me approximately 2 months ago that he has long admired my work. And through the years, he has handpicked me for cases, difficult cases, because of my experience and my maturity. Does my experience and my maturity not count now? I could understand better if we were asking for the moon and the stars, but we're not. We're just asking for a fair wage to continue on doing what we do, what we love to do, what we were meant to do. I want to help keep the cream of the crop doing this. It's not the cream of the crop doing it now, despite what you've heard. This is about serving the children of Butler County who need us desperately. We appreciate your continued support.
And I want you to understand, this isn't even half of us. There are people with part-time jobs now. Well, they had part-time jobs before too, but working their part-time jobs that couldn't be here. And some people nervous about being here, and everybody here about speaking up. But we just even say how many years you've done child welfare or social work, starting over there. Just yell it out, your number of years. 3 months. Very scary time. 3 months on the way to get it. A year.
2 years.
25 years. Almost 9 years. 17.
20.
Almost 15. 17. 10. 15. 18. 20.
Almost 15.
15 years. Almost 15 years. 11 years.
8 years.
7 years.
1
off the record in a social setting. I was speaking with a caseworker, and she told me, I've been as a county aide 14 months, and I'm going to see you. So that is astounding.
But understand, every 1-year person needs that 9-year person to help them along. They can't make it. They have to have their veterans to show them the way. I cannot imagine walking into doors by themselves like they are doing right now without someone standing there with them to show them just how to say hi. And we have to talk about something serious. And that's very, very scary to be that first person. So, did you have a question? Oh, wait a second.
You know, I've been 7 years old, I know that this county, and every day when I was working there's somebody here sitting here longer who I've gone to for help. So I don't know what their hear all of my choice.
I just want to say my name is Christy Scheid, and I'm not a taxpayer. I don't live in the county, but I started my career here in Butler County in 1999. I currently serve the kinship caregivers of Butler County. I do their home studies, I offer their support, I continue to offer the support, and I want to get back to continue to do that.
Anybody else have anything they want to say or a question they want to ask? I just want to make sure you have all the information that you need when you walk out this door. And I want to say, like, I am proud to be part of this union. Unions get bashed all over the place. And know this is so much bigger than a union issue, but our union is what has survived at this agency. Our union has been able to get our air quality fixed. We had radon levels as high as 14 in our building, and if our union, one person can't stand up and make a difference. When our union stood up and said, we want better air quality, we want you to test it, that's when they did it. I mean, I can tell you, they say open door policy, come on in, we'll talk to you. Right. You know, I mean, if we stand behind this union, all of us together, we know the value of this. And we're afraid. I mean, it becomes scary to say this is about the union and the union's demanding this and that. No, the union, we just want it to be treated with respect. We want to have a fair wage. We don't want our coworkers to leave. That's what drove this whole thing. Is all our workers leaving. That's what drove this. It was not a guarantee. None of us would be standing up here because of pennies. It's our coworkers leaving. It's all these new people who are going to be trained. We're going to spend $30,000 in the first 6 months making sure they're getting trained, and still say it doesn't cost $30,000. It does in their salary and the time that all these other workers are contributing to them, and then the training process. It is $30,000. They're going to walk out the door after 3 years, no raise. We have people who started 3 years ago, have not had a wage increase. Started $15 an hour doing social work, you can't even afford your college loan. Then they want us to ask them to do another 3 years. Now, some of us older ones, you know, we deal with it. But all these young people that are amazing, and I just tell you, they are coming out of school. Whatever's happening. There's so much passion. They revive us. You know, after 20 years, we need reviving. I need someone to look up to me and say, that's a good idea, because sometimes you feel like anything you say isn't that good. But they are amazing. We want them to stay, and they're not going to stay, and I don't blame them. You know, I don't blame them for staying. Our experienced ones are leaving, but our new ones, they're not going to stick around, and they're telling me that. I gotta be able to pay for my college. And if you can go to a neighboring county and make $2 more on the hour, that's a huge difference. And know that you're going to get a raise the next year. That's a pretty big deal. We just want that back. In 2005, we increased our wages. And then in 2008, we kept them the same. In 2011, these are just years I negotiated contracts. We kept them the same. That's it. I mean, in 2008, we were right above average, which made us look decent. We are 12% below the average county agency that is our comparable size. I think he just means among each other. I'm not really sure because, yeah. So when the county did their comparison, they didn't do any of that. They just did management. And they told us management is more valuable, and that's why they increased their wages. Seriously, those were the words that they used. It was very difficult for all of us to sit across the table. In fact, a couple people didn't. But understand, we are important, we know we're important, and this is why we're doing this. We are under the market, so we're bringing in less people. I'm just grateful that the ones that have come in are sticking around for a little bit, and we hope that they stay a little bit longer. So unless anybody has another question, I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. We'll stick around for a little bit. If you guys have questions, please talk to all the workers. And please go to the corner and be a part of our little video that we're going to make. And if you can, if you would like a shirt or make a donation, we would appreciate that too. So thank you very much, everybody.
And I just prepared a few notes that I'd like to share with everyone in the community today. I have been part of the Butler County Juvenile Court System for about 8 years, and I've been a practicing attorney for 10. I do not need the small amount of money that they pay me to do this job. I do it because I love it. I do it because I hope that I'm making a difference in somebody's life. I hope that when I go home at the end of the day that there's a child that I've reunited with a parent, or there's a parent that's off drugs. So I don't do this for the money. As a guardian ad litem, my job in the court system is to represent the children. I am your voice in court. I'm also the person that gives an independent view to the court of what I believe is in their best interest. I'm also kind of a checks and balance system with caseworkers. If a caseworker isn't doing their job, I'm going to know it. If I'm not doing my job, they're going to know it. So it's a good partnership that we can try to improve the lives of families that need us. Now, we don't always get along. But we all have the same goal in mind, and that's to get children and their parents back together and give them a better life. You know, it's a cycle that has to be broken somewhere. There are times when you learn that this child's mother or father were in the system when they were children as well. I'm also a defense attorney. I defend a lot of juvenile court children that are sexual abusers or that have been sexually abused. 99% of my cases on sexual abuse allegations for criminals for children that have sexually abused someone else have been sexually abused themselves. If we can break that cycle through therapy, counseling, treatment, then we can stop another family from going into the system. Today needs to be on the children of the county. In situations where parents are unable to care for them, whether it be a loss of income, it be drug abuse, physical or sexual abuse, housing, or other situations that have caused a family to become on the radar of children's services and these children to be removed. The caseworkers step in. They protect the children in need, and they help the parents in order to help them provide guidance so that these parents can become better parents. It's always the goal after the removal to reunite these children with capable, sober, adult parents. That's the goal. In order to reach that goal, we have to have experienced caseworkers. We have to have caseworkers that understand the different services that are out there. How to refer someone to these services. What makes a child more successful in counseling? What makes an adult more successful in drug treatment? This doesn't come from a book. You cannot hand someone a piece of paper and train them. This comes from years of experience. Without quality, trained social workers, without proper funding for treatment, for parenting classes, for aftercare programs, for mental health treatment, our county's future is very bleak. This isn't just about putting money in a caseworker's pocket. It is my hope that this strike brings the issues to the forefront in this community, that we understand that we need to retain employees that are qualified and capable, and that we increase funding in order to provide our families with what they need to be successful.